Welcome. I am Brother Gregg from St. Paul's Mission Station of the Celtic Catholic Church. Today is Friday, November 6th, 2020. The readings for today are Philippians chapter 3, 17 through chapter 4, 1, and Luke chapter 16, verses 1 to 8. I encourage you, as always, to open up your Bible and read these passages for yourself and see what they're saying to you. When doing so, I also encourage you to read around the verses. Don't just read the verses themselves, but what leads up to them and what follows, because you'll often gain a lot of insight into the passages by doing so. The other thing you'll notice in the lectionary is divided up into various different seasons. And this is typically the season of pledge drives for churches, so the passages tend to revolve around money and how you treat money. And today is no different. So I'm going to read the Luke passage now. He also said to his disciples, "There is a certain rich man who had a steward, and an accusation was brought to him that this man was wasting his goods. So he called him and said to him, 'What is this I hear about you? Give an account of your stewardship, for you can no longer be steward.' Then the steward said within himself, 'What shall I do? For my master is taking the stewardship away from me. I cannot dig. I am ashamed to beg. I have resolved what to do, that when I am put out to the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses.' So he called every one of his master's debtors to him, and said to the first, 'How much do you owe my master?' And he said, 100 measures of oil. And so he said to him, 'Take your bill, sit down quickly, and write 50. And then he said to another, 'How much do you owe?' And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said to him, 'Take your bill and write 80. So the master commended the unjust steward because he had dealt shrewdly. For the sons of this world are more shrewd in their generation than the sons of light.'" So this passage is kind of interesting. You know, the steward is called to the carpet for doing things wrong, and then he calls them in, and the debtors in, and gives them a discount. So, you know, why does he do that? Well, there's a couple of different possibilities. One is that, you know, he was actually being dishonest and had upped what the people owed him, so he was lowering it down to what was the true accounting for the master. Another option is that the amount difference was to be his commission on that transaction. But it's not really stated, so we don't really know, but those are just a couple of options. But what we do know is that the master then commended the guy for what he was doing, which is strange because he was getting the master less than what the debtors said that he owed him. And that probably goes to the master feeling that he had dealt fairly with the debtors. So he was actually being a good steward. He was not trying to gouge the people. He was not trying to take advantage of people. He was trying to do the best that he could do for all involved. So what is this passage really trying to tell us? And it's basically that we need to be sound stewards of our money, obviously, but it also is telling you that if you can't manage your money, which is a basic human thing that people have to do, then how are you going to manage your faith? Later on in this passage, the quote is, "No servant can serve two masters." Again, talking about reading around what's written in the passage. You can't serve the master of money and the master of you. You have to balance that act, obviously, because you can't not deal with money. But what's important? Where are you spending your time? Are you worried about every penny that you got, or are you worried about growing your faith with the Lord? That's kind of what this passage is about. It's trying to tell you that, you know, money is important. You got to be a sound steward, but your faith is the most important thing. So you should keep that in mind when you're when you're throughout your life, basically. So I hope that was helpful to you. Amen.